Ms. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court. I'm Amanda Leventhal, representing the appellant, Terrence Jamar Graham. Before I begin, may I request 2 minutes for to present a rebuttal? Thank you. The Eighth Amendment provides citizens with rights and protection even when they have committed wrongs in society. It is the Court's duty to abolish punishments that have been found to be cruel and unusual, or in other words, barbaric or grossly disproportionate to the crime, and used with irregularity. We will propose today that the sentencing of Mr. Graham to life imprisonment without parole and the same sentencing to other juveniles who committed non-homicidal crimes is unconstitutional on the grounds that it is overly cruel to juveniles, exceeds the purposes of criminal punishment, and is uncommonly practiced. The purposes of criminal punishment set forth in Harmelin v. Michigan state that criminal punishment is for retribution, deterrence, incapacitation, and rehabilitation. Retribution is less needed towards juveniles, as set in precedent in Roper v. Simmons.
Now, shouldn't these are all factors that should be taken into consideration? Okay?
Yes.
Now, the question here is not whether these factors should be taken into consideration. It's who should take these factors into consideration. Should it be the Supreme Court of the United States, which hears 8 cases a year, or should it be the district courts that are in touch with the facts, that sit through the trial, and that sit through the sentencing hearings, that hear from the families, and so on and so forth. So I want you to frame your arguments in terms of answering this question. Why do you think that we should decide across the board that there should never be this type of punishment for juveniles? And why do you think that it would be wrong to allow district courts to do this on a case-by-case basis?
It would be wrong to allow district courts to do this on a case-by-case basis because all juveniles have a lower maturity level than that of an adult. An adult has the proper maturity to make the reasoning on whether or not this is a wrong, their actions are wrong. And they have the comprehension to realize what it means to be in life forever.
Well, your position, I mean, what you just said can't be true, that all juveniles, it's not like every 17-year-old is exactly the same.
This is not
and every 18-year-old is different in the same way from the 17-year-old. So maybe you mean that most juveniles.
This is not a question of intelligence, but of comprehension, realization of what it means to be behind bars for the rest of their lives. There may be very few 17-year-olds who can fully comprehend this, but the meaning of a life sentence is pretty far beyond the grasp of someone so young.
What about Graham's escalating pattern of criminal conduct? He first committed a burglary, and then he was put on probation and community service. But then a year later, he again committed the same crime, but it was more calculated. He worked in a team. He had put a pistol to the victim's stomach, and then they put them in the closet. So there's more calculation. The conduct is worse.
Conduct is worse, but Graham himself asked the jury for lenience on his second sentence because of the stress it put on his family. His family was in a very bad situation after his first incarceration. He came home to this already stressed from his own incarceration and had no outside help such as therapy or rehabilitation. He fell back into his old patterns because that's all he knew. If we gave him more of an opportunity for rehabilitation, maybe gave him therapy or the opposite.
Isn't that a sign that rehabilitation did not work?
The judge did say that he felt that Graham's situation was beyond help, but the judge did not fully consider all of Graham's factors, such as his immaturity and the family situation that he was in when he was removed.
The judge heard 10 days of trial or something and heard everyone talk about it. Right? We're hearing you speak for 10 minutes today. You're saying we have better information than the judge did. I'm not sure I understand why.
Because we are looking at youth in a broad spectrum. We are looking at all youth and that they're all less mature than adults and that they need to be protected under the Eighth Amendment. Whereas the judge was looking at strictly this case and not seeing all factors. In Roper v. Simmons, there were 3 main reasonings behind the court that execution was made illegal for juveniles. The fact that they lack control in their own environments, that they have lower maturity and comprehension than that of an adult, and that they have an impermanent state of character. The lack of control in juveniles is especially important in Graham's case because he committed solely group crimes.
But wasn't he the leader in the second crime? Like, he was the one who first put the pistol from the facts of this case that he was really the one who was instigating his crimes. The two others were just his followers.
Nevertheless, they went along with him, and the mentality was of a group. Group mentality is the key situation here. He was immature and very, very sensitive to outside peer pressure. And according to Freud's theory of group behavior, when a group acts together, the impact of action is not fully seen to the group, and everyone in the group does not think about what they're doing as much.
So I understand that point. If he, let's give a little bit of a hypothetical, if he had done this all by himself, then you're saying that he would have more culpability and that he would be subject to the punishment of life without parole?
He would have slightly more culpability, but he would still stand to the lack of maturity and comprehension of the impermanent state of character of juvenile. Moving on to the impermanent state of character, it was actually found in Roper that juveniles have one of the highest capacities for change, and giving them such a permanent sentence for what might be an impermanent state of mind is truly unfair to them. They have no opportunity to come back as adults into the real world and have a chance to be a functioning member of society.
But the trial judge here did find that this person, Mr. Graham, would not benefit from that sort of rehabilitation. He was beyond help. Now, aren't there some 17-year-olds who might be beyond help?
There might be in very serious situations, such as antisocial personality disorder or homicidal criminals, but we are arguing for non-homicidal criminals.
Well, hold on now. I mean, he robbed two people, once at gunpoint, once his friend beat one of them with a steel bar. His friend wound up shot. I mean, this guy seems to carry trouble wherever he goes. So why shouldn't we allow district court judges who are part of a particular community, represent those values, to decide that, hey, we need to take this guy out of the community, just for the safety of the community? And the judge referred to the safety of the community several times.
He is still a juvenile, and with the impermanent state of mind, he could come back as an adult and be a better citizen and contribute to our society. It's unfair to say that what someone acts like at the age of 17 will be what they act like at the age of 50 or even 60.
It's also a little bit arbitrary to say that if he had committed this crime 7 months later, he would be fair to sentence him to L1.
The line has to be drawn somewhere. The government recognizes in the fact that juveniles under the age of 18 cannot vote or marry without consent or buy tobacco or even stay out past the state curfew, that they are of a lower maturity and deserve these, do not have the benefits of these. And she also mentioned a wide consensus in Florida. The law does not require a statewide sense. It requires a national consensus. Florida is one of the top 10 states to sentence life without parole. The top
You
state,
don't have the national consensus. I don't think you have 8 states plus the District of Columbia, correct? How is that a national consensus?
while many states do allow it, many states also do not use it. The trend has been dropping consistently since the mid-90s, and
Why is the trend enough?
a trend, it was stated in Roper that a number of states have not required only a trend to show that there is a national consensus. Also in Roper, which opposing counsel did say that international consensus was irrelevant, that was stated in the dissent of Roper, which is not legally binding. In the legally binding section of Roper, it said that it can be used as a secondary source behind national consensus. We do have a wide international consensus, speaking of which, we are one of 3 states that allows 3 nations that actively uses this punishment among juveniles. Due to the fact that Terrence Jamar Graham and other juveniles that have committed non-homicidal offenses and sentencing them to life without parole exceeds the purposes of criminal punishment, is inconsistently used, and is overly cruel towards juveniles, we insist that this constitutes cruel and unusual punishment, and respectfully request that Mr. Graham's sentence be reversed as the other sentences of non-homicidal youth. Thank you.
Thank you.